Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way morning briefing live. It's Monday, October the something, 23rd. There it
23rd.
is. 23rd of October, the day after, the morning after the day before. Hearts 1, Celtic 4, Ryan. We enthused about it last night after the game. We'll enthuse about it all over again in the fullness of time. But first and foremost, I'll just direct you to our new sponsors at the top. Ryan's pointing there, and we are proud to be sponsored by MPH Group. And if you look at their strapline, they deal specialists in plumbing, heating, kitchens, and bathrooms. And the morning briefing is brought to you by MPH Group, and they are Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialists covering all of mainland Scotland. And every service you opt for automatically enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway, and you could win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico. The descriptions and all the links are in the descriptions of this video, so check out them, all their social media sites and links to that and their phone number. So have a look at them, guys. But we thank MPH Group for their sponsorship of the Celtic Way morning briefing, and also as we direct you every day to the strapline running along the bottom, £4 for 4 months or £18 for a yearly subscription. If you hit that button, hit that subscribe button, guys, and visit www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Now, I'm Tony Haggerty at @Haggerty10 on the Twitter X handle, and I'm joined by Ryan McGinlay at the Ryan McGinlay. Doesn't feel like too long since we've been on here, Ryan, does it?
No, I don't think I've been off. I think we were on, we went to sleep, and now we're back to talk about the game that happened before. No problems with that, though, especially when Celtic put in, I would say, their best performance of the season so far yesterday. They seem to be in a pretty good place. As we talked about yesterday, it was a good dress rehearsal for the Atletico Madrid game on Wednesday night. It's always good to get yourself in a good vein of form going into that game. I know we were already in good form, or Celtic were in good form before that with the Kilmarnock result, but in order to do that away from home, doesn't matter about how the opposition played. You can see that narrative creeping in. The fact that people are talking about how bad Hearts were. Yeah, Hearts were bad on the day. They didn't lay a glove on Celtic, to be honest, apart from that one shot from Lawrence Shankland. But Celtic were very, very good equally. I think Hearts were bad because Celtic were so good. They didn't have anything to counter Celtic with a Brendan Rodgers style of play that seems to be really, really resonating with certain players in this Celtic team. And long may it continue, because when Celtic are like that, they're a very, very tough team to stop, home or away.
Yeah, the 570 fans that were there yesterday, Ryan, certainly enjoyed it. I was there myself covering it, and I never felt. I said to you off air, when Matt O'Reilly scored after 3 minutes, I just knew Celtic were on it, or 4 minutes, whatever it was. But I just thought, yep, it's going to be Celtic's day. I just felt that I didn't think it was particularly over, but I just thought if Hearts had any chance in that game, they would have needed to score first and something to hold on to. And I just saw the way Celtic were knocking the ball about. So when they made it 2-0 with Maeda, I was convinced that would be enough, and it was a question of could they go on and score more goals. But yep, after the Kilmarnock performance, which everybody enthused about and raved about, they've served up an even better one, I think, at Tynecastle. Yep, Hearts were poor, pretty disappointing Hearts, to be honest. They usually offer more, but they couldn't offer anything because Celtic were very, very good. I mean, let's be honest, they were excellent. And typified by Matt O'Reilly's opening goal, a thing of beauty, Ryan, I think you'll call it, yeah?
Yeah, I think everything that Matt O'Reilly seems to do this season is a thing of beauty, whether it be assists, whether it be goals, his movement, his close ball control is I think it's up there with Tom Rogic as one of the best I've seen at Celtic. He's already, not to compare the two, I think maybe Matt O'Reilly offers a wee bit more than Tom Rogic on the defensive end. He's more mobile about the park. I think Tom Rogic was more of an enigmatic player, a player that could just turn it on at that switch, whereas Matt O'Reilly's got this level that he just sticks to, and he can go up and down in that level, but he's always got that starting point that something can happen whenever he's on the ball. He's a perfect heir to Rogic's dynamic throne that he held for a good 7 or 8 years, and at 22 years old, he's only going to get better. He's a very, very exciting asset for Celtic to have, and that 4-year deal that was so smart that they got him to sign that just before he's hit this period of form, because you never know. There could have been people in his ear after scoring the goals against Motherwell, the goal against Hearts as well, the assist against Lazio. He signed up for 4 years. Celtic have safeguarded their asset, and I think, I've got to be honest, I think it will take a record bid to get him away from Celtic at this point. He's that important, and I think he can get to that level that he wants to get to. But Brendan Rodgers was speaking about him after the match. He was saying he does everything the right way. He's a model professional. He takes care of himself off the pitch. He's always willing to learn on the training ground. He's clearly listening to his manager on the pitch. He's basically a manager's dream, because he's doing exactly what Brendan Rodgers wants. Brendan Rodgers wants his number 8s and his number 10s, whatever position Matt O'Reilly plays in. He wants him to be scoring goals. Rogic did that for him. Armstrong did that for him. Maddison did that for him, and Coutinho did that for him. Players like this, Matt O'Reilly can be the next one in that line of players that Brendan Rodgers works with. He's good with attacking midfielders. He's good at getting his arm around a player's shoulder, and it's very, very clear to see that Matt O'Reilly's playing the best form of his career right now.
And he's also told you himself that he's doing the right things, and he's eating the right things, and putting the right sort of stuff into his body.
He's a very impressive individual to listen to as well.
Very much so, yeah, because he doesn't mind talking about the mental side of the game as well, and giving you an insight into how that can affect you, and it's a big thing for him. So a big up to Matt O'Reilly in every sense, and he was back in talking to the guys yesterday. I kind of say to him, if you weren't so good, you wouldn't have to come in all the time. That's just the way it is, isn't it? And I think he enjoys it as well, and he embraces it, and he's very good when he sits in front of him. He's very eloquent. I think he speaks as eloquent as he is as elegant on the park, to be fair, Ryan.
He's consistent in that regard with his play on the pitch, matches his personality and his stance, his persona. Off the pitch, I like that consistency. He's clearly one of these. I think the modern footballers get a hard they get harsh criticism, because a lot of them are really well educated and they've came through good systems. It's clear that Matt O'Reilly is well educated. He's fluent in Danish as well, so he's clearly got something about him. But he's got that football intelligence on the pitch as well as off it. And it really is shown. I'm just absolutely delighted. I mean, I was writing about him in June, saying a new manager will get the best out of Matt O'Reilly. It's all there. He just needs to unlock it. Fast forward to October, I think it's pretty much a shoe-in that he's going to be player of the season already. If he keeps away from it. Now, I was saying the same about Hatate last season, and he got injured and his form kind of went up and down. If Matt O'Reilly can keep this form steadily going, then I think he'll be a shoe-in, because his numbers are going to be quite frightening for an attacking midfielder. And that's good for Celtic, because we'll be getting the results, and good for Matt O'Reilly because he'll be getting plenty of attention from elsewhere, no doubt.
Well, joking with him as well, asking him about the last time he was a goal machine. He said that was at Fulham under 13s or 14s, and they were saying he's been laughing with Kyogo, and he was just like, nah, I think he accepts that Kyogo's a goal scorer, but he's certainly weighing in and chipping in with his fair few, and it's good to see. Lots of comments coming in about yesterday, Ryan. I'll just take a few as we're going along. Christopher Patterson, great performance from the team yesterday. Could have been a higher scoreline. Only block was the goal that Hearts got. Otherwise, a good win. Plunge McNugget, morning boys, great win in the performance yesterday. Helen Feeks, morning Helen, how you doing? Morning everyone, lovely sunny day after a beautiful Sunday. It was indeed a beautiful Sunday. Pablo 67, fantastic performance yesterday. Celtic are growing every game. Joe Bookless, great job yesterday. And Jerry Raw, yes, from Celtic beat teams commentators as always the opposition weren't very good. There you go. Brendan Monaghan, Celtic never let them play. Jason Lee, let's not forget Palmer's exquisite pass to Matt O'Reilly. We spoke about that yesterday in the after show, didn't we? That it was an absolute belter of a pass. Just a wonderful dink.
He's a player that's definitely acclimatising to things as well. You see him celebrating with all of his teammates. That doesn't scream out a guy that is struggling to fit in with the group. It shows that it's a very accommodating workplace to settle into for a player like Palma. You know, even though he is from Honduras, he was coming from Greece as well, which is another part of the world that's really, really hot. It's going to be difficult for him to acclimatise to his surroundings. But he's, I mean, that acclimatisation is taking 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks at most. He's contributing every game now when he starts. That slight argument between him and Yang, it's not an argument anymore because Palma starts every game now. You know, you pay £3.5 million for a player that's getting you a goal or an assist every game, then you're sorted basically, because he's gonna give you something every game and a goal contribution, whether that be a goal and assist. I know that won't happen every game, but it is what's happening every game so far. So as long as he can keep that going, then Celtic will be in a good place.
Do you know what I loved about it? And I mentioned it yesterday, but the ball, the pass or the chip through ball from Palma was exquisite. But I loved Matt O'Reilly's just split-second glance. He's watching the ball, he looks where the goalkeeper is, and then he watches the ball again, and then he leathers it like effortlessly into the bottom corner. It was just, I loved the glance, just quick check, split second, right, there's a goalkeeper there. I'm watching this, I hammer this into the bottom corner, volley into the bottom corner, he's not getting it. And he just did it like he was just dispatching it at training, which I said yesterday, it was like a kind of rehearsed move. Palma gets it, you make that run in there. Brendan Rodgers is always talking about when Celtic players are on the ball, it's about creating space, isn't it? And making the space, and the two of them saw it. It was almost telepathic, wasn't it? Which tells you they've been working on various things in training, and he dispatched it like a training ground goal. But that's what I loved about it, kind of run through it. And if you watch it again, he's watching the ball, and he just does that. Just looks to see where Xander Clark is, and then he's focused on the ball. Technique, absolutely sensational. And to dispatch it the way he did, and the effortlessly way he did it, I just thought it's a brilliant goal. If it's...
It was like...
Barcelona scored that.
Kyogo's against Motherwell in the final day of the season.
Yeah.
Just over the top and bang. Or, I mean, it's not as far out as Van Persie's was, but I remember Van Persie scored one about 10 years ago over the top against Aston Villa. Yeah. But it's just that quality that to have that split-second thought. You are right to call it a training ground goal, because I think Matt O'Reilly's treating games as if they're training ground games. He treats opposition game. Tynecastle should be an intimidating place for a player to go. It seems as if Matt O'Reilly is thriving in going to these places. He wants to be playing there. He wants to be playing in the Champions League. That's why he signed a new deal, because he knows his development is going to be improved upon at Celtic rather than anywhere else. He knows he's happy somewhere. He's getting game time. He's playing at a good level. He will move on to better things. I've got to say that, but for when, maybe not better things, bigger things.
Mañana.
Yeah. But you've just got to enjoy him while he's here. He's a phenomenal talent, and he's really, really came to the fore this season. We talk about that. I know we go back to it quite a lot. That £10 million bid from Leeds is looking more and more derisory every single game that he plays. I think you'd need to treble that before offers start for Matt O'Reilly, to be honest, at this point in time.
We will no doubt be talking about that in the fullness of time. Ryan, yeah, I agree. He could fetch a significant fee for Celtic, but I'll read out some more comments. Hearts weren't poor, Celtic were too good, says Jerry Smith. Agree with that. Natalie McMillan, amazing result yesterday. First goal for Iwata. Yeah, we were talking about that, weren't we? And O'Reilly's crossfield pass from the touchline was quality. It was indeed. Lots of things about Celtic yesterday were quality. Hazel Finn really liking the look of Palma. He can hit a pass. And Tim Anon saying Matt O'Reilly will win the Player of the Year, the Players' Player of the Year, the Sports Writers' Player of the Year, and Eurovision. Yep, the old Kenneth Wilson home.
Is there anything this man can't do?
Well, he's channeling Kenneth Wilson home there, who once described, I think, as a Bobby Charlton goal. God rest Bobby Charlton, who passed away sadly at the weekend. He described it as a strike that was good enough to win the league, the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the Grand National. I think he said the boat race and the Grand National. So there you go, Tim Anon channeling that. Tam Mack, Palmer's passing was exceptional. it was. And Andrew Gillier, okay, that's the best Celtic have played this season. Can see improvement, and he can see Celtic winning in midweek.
See what a win can do. A good win away from home can do. It can make you dream.
Martin Davey, the game yesterday was brilliant. Roll on to Wednesday night. Totally different game against one of the best teams in Spain. It'll be a great Champions League night. It most certainly will. I'm trying to get through as many comments as I can. If I don't read them out, guys, forgive me, but they're coming in thick and fast, Ryan, as you can see from the comment section. Brendan Monson, great way the players let Awada lead the victory celebrations as well. There was that togetherness yesterday was noticeable, and it was even more noticeable, Ryan, and it's the title of the briefing today. Has Brendan Rodgers won over the Celtic support again after yesterday's win? And for the first time this season, the Celtic fans dusted down the Brendan Rodgers song. Brendan Rodgers, you've heard us calling in the night. You came home to lead the green and white as the lyrics, I believe. And I asked him about it, and he got all kind of embarrassed when I said it, because he kind of bowed his head down, but he did smile. But I think inwardly, I think he was thinking, yeah, happy with that. It's a lot of the doubters been swept away, and I was really pleased. That was another aspect that really pleased me about yesterday, that Brendan got his moment in front of the fans and they chanted his name, and it's long overdue, I think, Ryan, to be fair. And big up to the Celtic fans that were there yesterday. Thought they were in terrific voice and sang, praised the manager and gave him his dues. So I have to applaud that.
Yeah. Do you know, I think there's been this myth going about since Brendan Rodgers has came back into the club that somehow he plays bad football. Now, there was a bit of a malaise in the third season, but apart from that, Celtic won every trophy that was available to them at the first time around when Brendan Rodgers was in charge. Any trophy that they could have won, at least domestically, was won by Brendan Rodgers playing succulent football, if I'm being honest. Now, Ange Postecoglou's football was absolutely tremendous. But it seems as if it's a bit more measured under Brendan Rodgers. Everything has a purpose. There's more defensive stability, I would say, under Brendan Rodgers. There's maybe a wee bit less risk. Maybe that's why Hatate's giving away the ball a bit more, is because it's not everybody making those passes, it's just him. So he's standing out as that midfielder that's trying to make things happen, and it's not always coming off for him. But, Celtic can play good football under Brendan Rodgers. It's been shown in the past, and I think that's been overlooked slightly by people, especially online, maybe on Twitter. You can play good football under Brendan Rodgers. We've seen it before, and you seen that yesterday. Yesterday was very much like that game, the title-winning game. Was it 4-0 or 5-0 against Hearts in Brendan Rodgers' first season in 2017? Yes. It was very much like that. You'd even seen the similarities of some of the players that go. I know there's some of the same players that are still there, like Callum McGregor was there the first time and he's here again. But you've got your Palma. Is Palma going to be this season's Sinclair? Is Matt O'Reilly going to be this season's Armstrong or Rogic? You're seeing these players get into these positions. Kyogo with Dembele, different players, I know, but they both know where the back of the net is. That's one thing that's similar with the both of them. That's why Kyogo gets so much credit. You can see now everything is starting to click, and Celtic are only going to get better from here. I tweeted that out yesterday. I was saying, if you're not on board yet, then get on board, because things are only going to get better from this position. Celtic are only improving. I'm seeing a steady improvement every single game from Celtic. There's wee things that they do, these wee triangle passes, from Alistair Johnson into Hatate. They understand where everybody is on the park, and it's only going to get better. This is only going to get more and more like clockwork. They're not even going to think about this in a couple of weeks' time, and I would worry for the rest of. I would worry for Celtic's opposition in the coming weeks, because I think they're going to rack up quite a few goals.
I think it'll be more refined as the season goes on, and as I say, that's why I've said on this briefing before that it was refined from Ibrox onwards for me. I thought Ibrox was an excellent performance. Yeah, they had to weather a wee bit of a storm, but they played very, very well at Ibrox, and it's just kind of been on an upward trajectory since then. Pete McGee, some of Celtic's football yesterday was supplying criticism of Brendan Rodgers' tactics is ridiculous. Yeah, so and Celtic Love saying, where did the narrative of Roger Ball not being good football come from? It seemed to appear after he left for Leicester.
I think it wasn't as good in the third season, but I think that was a lot down to the recruitment as well. You know, you're bringing in guys like Shved that Brendan Rodgers didn't want, Malumbu, who was brought in instead of. I actually think it was Glenn Kamara instead. They were trying to say Malumbu and or the other way about, trying to sign Kamara and they got Malumbu instead. You know, it's maybe not the players that Brendan Rodgers wanted. I think he was maybe halfway out the door already. We've heard stories about if he was in or out. It was a mess of a period, and but it seems as if everybody knows what their job is now. They know that Brendan Rodgers deals with the team, Mark Lawwell deals with the recruitment. Brendan Rodgers does have a say in the recruitment, but you know, everybody knows their station. They know how they work and they know how they operate. And I think everybody's quite happy at the moment because, you know, the results are showing it.
Yeah. Edward Wyevos, it's a hybrid of Roger Ball and Ange Ball. Don't know what you would call that, but hey, it's the new look Brendan Rodgers and the new look Celtic. And as
If you
say,
put those two words together, it sounds like a word that I don't really want to use on this podcast.
Yes, exactly. Correct. So we'll just leave that there. But yes, I think you can take every confidence into Atletico Madrid. Brendan himself was saying it, wasn't he? That he was looking forward to pitting his wits against a great team on Wednesday night. And yeah, I've said before, you have a rip at these games and we'll see what happens. But it's shaping up to be another special night, one way or another, Ryan, on Wednesday. But I think that whole buy-in camaraderie and just the manager being there, I touched upon it yesterday, that the elite level things that they do, you know, keeping players happy who are not, who are not playing, but Iwata comes on, makes an impact, and he scores a goal, and then he goes onto Instagram and tweets it like he's the happiest man in the world, and he is the happiest man, and all his teammates getting behind him and all that. It's just different things like that, you know, these things don't happen by accident. You know, someone has got to coordinate all of that, and that someone at this minute in time is a Celtic football manager, and it's Brendan Rodgers, and he's more than just a tactician. He's more than just a manager. You know, talking about the other day when he was saying that he really cares for his players in response to taking Leila Bada out for a meal and stuff like that. He does care for his players, cares about their welfare, their well-being, but he cares about them if they're not playing. Still puts arms around shoulders and tells guys, look, there will be a time when I need to, I need you to come into this team and perform. So, and I was delighted more about Iwata's attitude when he came on. And I think, I think it's all down to the manager, Pablo 67. Great to hear the fans singing Brendan Rodgers. Thought that myself as well.
I knew it would come eventually. It's just taken a while.
Another one of those many pleasing things. I tweeted out a big thing last night about what was good about yesterday. Matt O'Reilly's goal was one of them. Iwata's goal, Kyogo's 60th Celtic career goal, and the fans singing Brendan Rodgers' song, the Champions performance as well. So, yeah, lots of stuff to be enthused about yesterday, Ryan, and it's always result dependent, I say that, but it was one of the more easier trips to Tynecastle, wasn't it? You were just relaxed from the third minute onwards.
Yep, I think the record sometimes can overlook some of the difficult performances that have had to be made at Tynecastle. You know, some of these games have been closer than ours. I know Celtic, it is pretty much a happy hunting ground whenever Celtic go to Tynecastle, but you know, these records, they only show you win, lose or draw. They don't show you the actual performance in games or the fight that you had to put up, the fight that Celtic had to put up. You think about the game last season, and I read a couple of Hearts fans saying that they wanted that performance from their Hearts team, the 2-0 result, because Hearts were very much in that game before Cochrane gets sent off. I know that Celtic were targeting that side again because they sensed weakness in Alex Cochrane yesterday. They were playing it down to Maeda because they knew that Maeda had the run on him. And he was getting joy down that side. Same for Lowry in the middle of the park. Every time he got on the ball, there was always a midfielder in there to just take it off him. I see that one clip in particular of him doing a trick on Hatate is going around. Tell that to the scoreline, I guess. I think he only lasted 58 minutes before coming off. If you want to take that from the game, then I mean, just look at the score, 4-1. So it's it was it is difficult to go to Tynecastle. It's never a given going to Tynecastle. I know the impact and the recent record is good, but it's never a given. And Celtic can't turn up and just expect to win. Good thing is they didn't yesterday. They put in a great performance and they were fully deserving of their 3-goal advantage. It probably should have and could have been more, but that's a problem for another day. The goal difference didn't take too much of a hit either. I know Rangers won by 4 yesterday, or on Saturday. Celtic won by 3, so it's only 1 goal. You'd imagine that Celtic can make that up in their home games and at Easter Road next week as well, if they're on form with that game. So yeah, a really, really good weekend by all accounts. No injuries by the looks of it. Players will be coming back. Nawrocki wasn't risked. He doesn't need to be risked because Liam Scales is playing the best football of his career at the moment. Players coming back into form. You could talk about Greg Taylor, who had a good game, I thought. Alistair Johnson, who also had a good game. The midfield is motoring well. The wingers are looking good. The wingers are scoring. And Matt O'Reilly's just doing Matt O'Reilly things, to be honest.
What's not to like about the Celtic team at this minute in time, Ryan?
I know. Well, I don't know. There is nothing not to like about them, to be honest. It's a very harmonious place to watch Celtic. Maybe the only thing that's been a bit of a downfall is the League Cup and the Champions League results. But the performances have been there in the Champions League. It's just all about getting that next step and getting results. I would say performances to an extent, because you need to keep it going for 90 minutes in order to get results in Europe. Celtic didn't do that against Lazio. They should have got a draw. Instead, they get beat. So it's all about putting in that 90-minute performance. Not even 90 minutes, actually, 95, 96, because there'll be time added on at the end, and you've got to stay alert when teams will be pushing. If Atletico Madrid are pushing for a winner in stoppage time, they'll get players like Griezmann, Morata, all these different, like the World Cup winners, as Brendan Rodgers said. They're a really, really good team. You've got to stay focused for the 90 minutes and stoppage time as well. But I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will have them well drilled for the game on Wednesday. But it's time to just enjoy yesterday's performance, talk about yesterday's win, and then look forward to Wednesday in the coming days.
Yeah. Over 300 people, 332 people joining us on the live. So thank you guys for that. Lucky 15 Voodoo coming in. Tutu Ryan, no complacency. Don't think Brendan Rodgers would allow it. No, he certainly would not. You've got to enjoy the highs while you have them. And I think yesterday was a season performance high for Celtic, and he was hoping that they can transfer that on to Wednesday night. I'm sure the players will be determined to get their first points, Champions League group stage points on the board, and hopefully they can win for the first time in 10 years in the Champions League group stage. But we'll touch upon that tomorrow and Wednesday, won't we, sir?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a game to look forward to. A daunting task against a really, really good side.
Yeah.
I noticed somebody in the comments was saying that Memphis Depay comes off the bench for Atletico Madrid. That's the strength that they've got in depth. He's a player that's played at World Cups. He's played for Man United, played for Lyon alongside Moussa Dembele, played for Barcelona too. A guy with the highest pedigree. Maybe not got to the levels that you would have thought he would have got in his career. I remember watching him about 8-9 years ago, thinking this guy is going to take over the world with his ability, but he's still a good player. Maybe not got that pace that he used to have, but he's certainly a live wire, and he knows where the back of the net is. So Celtic have got to watch when he does come on the pitch in the second half, you would presume, because I would guess it'd be Griezmann and Morata that start. But they've got options. They're a good team. They've got an elite level manager. He is a truly elite level manager. Simeone. He gets paid the big bucks for that reason. I think he's actually the highest paid manager in the world. He's been there for over a decade, so he knows Atletico Madrid inside out. A great task for Celtic, a very daunting task, but these are the games you live for. These are the games that you work for the league to get into the Champions League for. It is the glamour game with Atletico Madrid, but I don't want it to be the glamour game. I want Celtic Park to be a fortress and them to make it as hard as possible for Atletico.
Yeah, we'll touch upon that in the next couple of days. Another point of order, Ryan, is, and we touched upon it yesterday as well, Jason Mudgard coming in. Celtic need a new penalty taker. but no worries because they hardly get any. Well,
Had a few this season.
One shot, Shirlene saying, who takes the next penalty? Maybe Palmer. We were talking about that yesterday in terms of Hatate has, his penalty against Livingston. Probably the goalkeeper should have saved it. And yesterday, slamming a penalty against the post. To be fair, he was unlucky. Goalkeeper's gone the wrong way. But I would just like a convincing penalty taker, Ryan. I'm not convinced by Hatate from the spot yet. If he steps up and hits the next one and he scores, so be it. But I just like forwards hitting them, which I've always been like that.
Usually it's a 2 strikes and you're out, isn't it, for a penalty kick taker if you miss one. Granted, he probably should have missed the one against Livingston as well. I was talking about that yesterday. Shamal George, it just jumps under his ribs and goes in the back of the net. Can't call it a bad penalty because it goes in the back of the net. But he hits that one better yesterday and it doesn't go in the net. I thought the run-up was just wrong. He took too much time. I don't know what he was trying. Was he trying to kill the atmosphere? I don't know. Too much thought into it. Rio Hatate, he's a thinker. We all know that. He's a very, very deep thinker. Just put your laces through it. You've got that power.
Lots of comments coming in. Pablo67, Celtic need a penalty taker. They do. Michael Ross put scales in penalties. He's been playing brilliantly. I'm with Des Harker in this one. Super Matt, while he's buzzing, should have a crack at penalties. Quite like the thought of that. Or a forward. Palmer, Maida, a Kyogo, Seamus Gallagher. Get them. We watched John Aldridge taking penalty. Aldo was class. Did miss one in the FA Cup final though, didn't he? Dave Besant saved it. 1988. When the crazy gang beat the crazy gang beat the Culture Club, as I've always said before. Yeah, I think Kirsty O'Connor's back. Good morning, Kirsty. Miss you all, especially my routine with Tony in the morning.
She was saying in the comment section she was back from hospital as well. She's been in there for 2.5 months. So, welcome back to your home and welcome back to the morning briefing as well.
And wish you a speedy recovery, Kirsty. I hope everything was all well. But yeah, we've missed your comments, Kirsty. You've a regular contributor, so good to see you back on the road to recovery. And I'm sure everybody in the Celtic Way comment section will wish you well too. So thank you.
I'm sure yesterday would have helped as well. That would make anybody feel better watching that sort of performance.
Yeah. Now, something else you wanted to talk about, and it kind of largely went unnoticed yesterday, but Alistair Johnston, discuss.
I thought it was absolutely phenomenal yesterday.
Amongst other phenomenal things, But...
Yeah, he's usually a 6 or 7 out of 10 most games. I don't think I've seen him have a 5 out of 10. Maybe his last 5 out of 10 was for Canada against Japan, because I know he had a bit of a howler against Kyogo, Hatate and co. But if you're keeping your best form for Celtic, then I've got absolutely no problems. I just think his link-up play with Hatate in particular, that move and putting it into the middle of the park, those triangles, they were just breaking lines at every single opportunity. Hearts didn't know what to do because, I think Johnston's a bit underrated on the ball. He's not just some agricultural right back that's going to get to the byline and put a cross in. He's a good passer of the ball as well, and he clearly interprets information really, really well. I've been really, really impressed by him. I knew he was going to be one of the players that Brendan Rodgers would get a tune out of or improve further. He's just one of those guys. He's physical. His upper body strength is something to behold. He doesn't get pushed about whatsoever. I think he's a really good defender. But you're starting to see a more attacking outlook from him as well. You've seen that he probably should have scored against Kilmarnock. He had a couple of chances, but he's getting into those areas. It won't be long till he breaks his duck for goals this season, because if he keeps on getting into these positions, then a goal will come. He's clearly got a good shot on him. He just needs to get it on target. Once he does that, he'll definitely get one.
I think he'll have one of those Hatate games. Remember, Hatate was switched to right back and he scored twice in one game.
He was brilliant
last season, and he hit the post, was denied a hat trick. I think that's what will happen for Alistair Johnston one day. Everything he touches when he moves forward and shoots a goal will go in. One shot, Shirling saying Johnson was 5, he was getting stuck into him. But I agree with you. I think he's interpreting information very, very well, and I think his distribution is greatly improved, because I think he's now thinking more about the end product when he goes forward, not just hopeful crosses, or he's actually trying to pick people out, or he's trying to play people in, play the triangles, play through the line. So, and I think that's what the managers told him. You're a very good technical player. You're good at defending, but also you're very good at going forward. And I think like Greg Taylor, he's now kind of thinking, okay, when I'm a rod forward, where can I put this? Where can I hurt the opposition the most? And look for the guys making those runs, your Matt O'Reilly's, your Hitatis, people like that, and your wingers. So I've just think that Alistair Johnston's just adapted from day one, hasn't he? He just felt comfortable being at Celtic and playing in that team. And I can't remember a below par performance from Alistair Johnston off the top of my head. Somebody in the comment section might enlighten me, but like you, he's been a very steady Eddie, more than a steady Eddie, in fact. And he's due a goal, isn't he? He'll bust a net at one point when he runs into the box at some
I think
point.
when he sees Tomoki Iwata scoring, I think when he sees Tomoki Iwata scoring, he's like, I must be soon here. Or he'll be so annoyed with himself the fact that he didn't score, because my goodness, he had chances. Zander Clark was equal to those chances, though there was a couple of really good saves. There's the reason why he's in the national team lineups. Hearts have got two good goalkeepers. Craig Gordon coming back as well, so that will provide good competition from them. They're sorted in that area. But yeah, with Johnson, you are right, he's a steady Eddie. He's a 6 or 7 out of 10, mostly a 7 out of 10. Maybe the only games that he's 6 out of 10 is when when he hasn't got any defending to do, and it's just expected that he just goes about his business. I think he's a motor. He motors on and just keeps on going in games. Much with Carter Vickers, I think it's the same with Johnson. Whenever I see him in the team, you feel a bit safe with the defence, because you know that they'll always drop a good performance. And now I'm getting that way with Liam Scales as well, which is quite incredible to say, considering where he was at the start of the season. And we didn't really touch upon him as much yesterday. I know we talked about his one-touch passing yesterday, but I thought Liam Scales was exemplary yesterday. He's a guy that's very much on form, and I think it's now a priority for Celtic to give him a new deal, because he's very, very capable. You know, you look at guys that aren't even in the team yesterday. Look at Nawrocki, look at Lagerbielke. There's nothing wrong with Lagerbielke. He wasn't injured. He just wasn't picked because of how good Scales was doing. And then Phillips was on the bench for cover. It's up to Lagerbielke to get back in the team. It's a bit, I'm not going to say it's concerning. I'm not going to write him off completely. I know a few people online have already written off Lagerbielke. You know, same people did that with Scales, and look at Scales now. You just got to give these guys time, and competition is great at centre-back. This is the deepest the centre-back position has been in a long, long time, from what I can remember. Ever since maybe Ayer, Boyata, the Ayer, Boyata, Sviatchenko of Brendan Rodgers' first season, having those options. O'Connell as well was waiting in the wings for an opportunity. I know he played a couple of games at the start of the season. I can't remember the centre-back position being this deep when you think of players that aren't even anywhere near it. The Kobayashi comments from Brendan Rodgers indicate that he's not really got a future at Celtic. But you've got Stephen Welsh, who was given a new contract. Then you've got Phillips, Lagerbielke. Then you've got Scales, Nawrocki, Carter Vickers. That's incredible. That's imposing, and there's options there, options to rotate if they're wanting to play.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult to keep people happy, but that's a great conundrum to have. It's a great headache.
He'll find a way, Lots of comments still coming in. Peak Meat G, I reckon Matt O'Reilly's goal from Palmer's glorious chip's a good shout already for goal of the season. If not, I'd like to see a better one. I said it yesterday as a goal of the season contender. Steve Glory, morning Steve, regular contributor. How you doing, sir? Loved Kyogo's Insta message. 4 goals, 3 points, 1 team. Sums him and the team up. Does indeed sums the Celtic dressing room up. I think you'll find Steve. Pablo 67 is waiting for a Johnston Thunder Blaster. There you go. I'm sure that'll come in the fullness of time. Anthony Beattie.
I think that's the PG version of what he was trying to say.
Yes, correct. Johnston, excellent back four, looking absolutely solid again. And Pablo Sixing back in. Johnston's always composed. Yeah, he most certainly is. And but going back to Steve's quote there about Kyogo's Instagram post, love seeing that, Ryan. Love hearing that. Just love the fact that the buy-ins there, they're all singing from the same hymn sheet, as they say, and you can't buy that. You can't put a price on that.
Yeah, completely agree with you there. It's just such a great position for Celtic to be in. especially when you look at, you can see all the joy on the pitch at full time when they're celebrating with the fans. The reduced allocation, obviously, but they're still making the most noise in that corner of the stadium. So fair play to them. The players, Iwata was leading the celebrations. I love that. That's the players understanding that these players deserve credit when they do things, and that'll make him feel like $1 million. He'll be on top of the world after that goal, because he's got an in now with a Brendan Rodgers team. He's came on those couple of games against Feyenoord and Livingston, that wee run of games that he had, those 2 games that he was playing. He showed enough quality for Brendan Rodgers to trust him. Brendan Rodgers trusted him yesterday, coming off of the bench, ahead of Bernardo and Turnbull. Bernardo came on later. Turnbull didn't come on at all. I think that probably says more about Turnbull's future than anything else. But, to see all that on social media as well, once again, I implore everybody to make an Instagram account and follow all the Celtic players, because it is a bit of a laugh. Daizen Maeda has turned out to be one of the biggest wind-up merchants that Celtic have. I don't know if you've seen it last night, but Maeda posted a picture of Tomoki Iwata wearing the wee Jimmy Scottish hat.
Yeah.
He's definitely, see, for a quiet guy that doesn't really celebrate his goals, he's a bit of a wind-up merchant, but he's a character, and I think people
Again,
that document
clearly
about Celtic and Celtic supporters, they like having these characters in and around the team because it breeds personality.
Clearly well liked by his teammates as well, Ryan. Both Iwata and Maeda, they seem to be popular players, because Matt O'Reilly's celebration with Iwata,
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Joe Hart also Instagrammed and said they're delighted for him. So just that whole camaraderie and that bond in the dressing room that is quite solid. And as a supporter, you're looking on at that, you're just delighted to see that, because you can't manufacture that. It's either there or it's not. But they really do look like a close-knit group, and they're all delighted for each other when something good happens to, each and every individual player. So there's no, don't strike you as a place where there's cliques and there's, jealousy oozing out of people because they're not playing. So, and another big up to Rodgers for that, for keeping everybody sweet and happy, because they will play at some point. It's just a question of when, isn't it? But I just love the fact that Iwata embraced that yesterday when he came on and just got tore in and scored his first goal. And as we spoke about yesterday, he just seemed to be the happiest guy in the world, didn't he? After he did that, and everybody was happy for him. So I'm all in favour of that.
Yeah, everybody, it seems like a very happy camp to be involved with, and you can see that both on the pitch and on social media. All the players are pulling for each other. They all want everybody to do well. They know that there's only 11 positions available on the pitch, but those players that come in, both in the start 11 and coming in off the bench, they've got a job to do. There seems to be a real togetherness between those players. They all understand their role. We understand what is required. And Brendan Rodgers is a facilitator of this as well. I think he's allowed for maybe I'm not going to say a more relaxed dressing room, but I think he's definitely more approachable than his predecessor. That could be one thing you could definitely say. And players are feeding off that. Even the Japanese players that are maybe used to having Ange Postecoglou as their manager, having this manager that all of a sudden has their arm around you and is delighted with you and wants to get the best out of you. And for players, their manager taking them out for meals, such as Leila Abada, that will only make for good reading and good viewing on the pitch, because they know that they're playing for a manager that's got their back.
Yeah, I think when Ange left, that any doubts about the void or the chasm that was going to be created was immediately lifted when Brendan Rodgers walked into that dressing room. And even if the Japanese players had bonded with Ange in a sense because he knew them when he brought them over, Brendan Rodgers instantly commands respect the minute he walks in without even opening his mouth for what he's achieved in football. And he's been a Celtic manager before. And then they realised that he does care. He cares about each and every individual player. He said that himself. So I think you can only warm to that. You see, Ange Postecoglou, by his own admission, was maybe a wee bit more aloof, but Brendan certainly the arms round the shoulder type, the explaining type. Ange would say he would pin the team up in the dressing room and leave. That kind of thing. I think Brendan's more of a sit you down, tell you why you're playing or you're not playing, whatever. So fine, whatever works. Both of them have proved to be successful when they've been the manager of Celtic. So these are not criticisms, they're more observations of management styles, and that's fine. But I think everybody's embracing it, aren't they? Since Brendan Rodgers came back, and it was going to take time to get used to that new system and new style, and also take time in terms of results. It took a couple of early dunts, the Kilmarnock game in particular, St Johnstone too, but it's now you can sort of see it all coming to fruition and coming to the boil, and it's it's good to watch. It's decent to watch. You're being entertained, you're being excited, and you are just champing at the bit to see where this team can go this season and what they can achieve, what they can do.
Look at the run of away games that Celtic have managed to negotiate.
So far.
Now, I don't think it's getting talked about enough, to be perfectly honest with you. Brendan Rodgers has came in, inherited a side of larger players that he hasn't worked with before. To navigate those away fixtures, you've got to look at that run. An informed Motherwell side, Aberdeen, who were buoyed by Barry Robson, a heavily depleted Celtic side against Ibrox going and winning 1-0, Livingston on the plastic pitch, Hearts, always an intimidating atmosphere. Is there any more that I've forgot? We've got Easter Road and Sunday. Celtic will get Easter Road and Sunday. You'd expect them to go and do the business. The only time that they've faltered in the league is at home against the bottom side in St Johnstone, which is amazing. It's very much something that Man City would do down south. Man City would go and beat Arsenal, they'd go and beat Chelsea, Man United, but they'd then lose to Wolves, as they did a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes it's I'm not going to say the lesser teams, but it's the
football.
The weaker teams that they can get caught out, and it's a game that Celtic on another day would have won about 3 or 4-0 if they had their shooting boots on. If Matt O'Reilly, the only criticism that I'll give to Matt O'Reilly this season is that he didn't have his shooting boots on that day, but he was doing the job of about 2 or 3 players that day, so I'm not going to give him too much criticism because he doesn't deserve it after this incredible season that he's having. But that's the only time that Celtic have faltered in the league. It's an incredible start to the season, and
I said to you on Friday, what chance Celtic winning all 3? I said they were shaping up for the biggest week of the season so far. 1 down, 2 to go, and you are. I just said the mood music would be changed entirely if you could win all 3, and I think they're capable of winning all 3. And not saying they are going to win all 3. Wednesday night is a totally different challenge altogether, but you're getting in there in the best of form that you could possibly hope for going into that game. Spring in your step, buoyed by the performance, looking forward to seeing certain players come up against, players of Atletico Madrid's calibre. And for those who are older, they still want revenge on a team from 1974, Ryan. The way people, older supporters than myself, even, Ryan, there are such people out there who are older than me, but remember 1974 semi-final of the European Cup when Atletico Madrid were reduced to, I think it was 8 men, 3 men sent off, all that kind of stuff, Ayala and all that. But, so why not be confident going into it? Why not pick your wits against the best of managers, relishing the challenge? And you can, if you can somehow eke a win, just get that win under your belt, the whole complexion of that group changes. It changes big time, and you're back in the hunt. And I think, or at least get your first points on the board. Pete McGee, get into them, Tony. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, get into them. Yeah, indeed. But it's weeks like that you love in football. That's why we're involved and we do what we do. I love weeks like this. It doesn't get any better. Going to Tynecastle and putting in a swashbuckling, scintillating performance, winning 4-1, playing some great football, scoring some great goals. Bring on Atletico Madrid on Wednesday. What's the worst that happens? You lose a football match, but at an elite level where you're trying to be as competitive as possible. in an arena where you know you're going up against some top-notch teams, great. I want to be in there, Ryan. I want to be in there constantly, because you'll only get better if you're playing at that level consistently, year in, year out.
Yeah, it's the only way you're going to get used to it. Celtic were playing, a lot of the players were playing last season in the Champions League. Yes, I know they've got a couple of new faces in there, but if you normalise the Champions League, then it'll become less of an issue in order to acclimatise to the way in which teams play. You know, it is a very different standard. Unfortunately, Celtic need to up that standard from the Premiership to the Champions League every second week. It'll be even worse next season if and when they get into the Swiss league model of the Champions League, where they'll be playing, what is it, 6 or 8 games? I think it's 8 games.
Certainly 8, with the
can be 10.
10, yeah. Depending where you finish.
You're definitely getting Europe after Christmas, because some of those games are getting played in January. So that's an interesting prospect. I wonder how they'll spin that one. Europe after Christmas. You're automatically getting Europe after Christmas with the way that it's set up. But that'll be exciting. But that's a bridge that Celtic will cross when they come to it.
Yeah.
For now, they just need to get used to playing in the Champions League, and playing against these big teams. This is the hardest team to play against, I think, out of the three. Feyenoord are the pot one side, but I think Atletico are probably the best side in that. I was just having a look at the league table, the La Liga table last night. It makes for very interesting reading, because, you know, Atletico Madrid are there or thereabouts, but it's Girona that are the surprise team in La Liga this season. I think they're currently second in the league. It's a very up and down league, obviously, with Barcelona playing at the Olympic Stadium due to the Camp Nou being refurbished. I know that the Bernabeu's getting refurbished as well, but it's a very interesting league. But that's not taking away anything from Atletico Madrid. Top manager, top players, and Celtic are going to need to be at their A game to get anything from the game, never mind a win. So they need to put in their best performance. Hope that it's maybe a down night for Atletico Madrid, and take it when it comes. Take the chances when they come.
Gary Thompson, swashbuckling. Hello, Errol O'Flynn. Yeah, there you go. Swashbuckling indeed, as the Robin Hood analogy there. Who Errol Flynn, famous actor that played Robin Hood. I thought Celtic were swashbuckling yesterday, you know. Or if you want me to put it another way, as I always say, rip roaring, free scoring, never boring. So I'm hoping that they can take parts of that into Wednesday night against Jamie Young saying it here. They're a star-studded team, but you can only hope that Celtic can match them. Yeah, exactly. Andrew Galea, he's optimistic about the midweek game. Yeah, you've got to be optimistic. You're going in playing as well as you can play domestically. Yeah, we get it. It's a step up, but you've got to go in there and do it. And Pete McGee, Celtic student, delivered yesterday. They did. In 1888 FC saying he's a realist. Yeah, we're all realists. But some of us are idealists, aren't we? Romanticists.
Dreamers.
Dreamers, aye. Dreamers. I'm the biggest dreamer out there, so there you go. But yeah, we dream about beating Atletico Madrid on Wednesday night. Don't think it's fantasy. I'll come back to you. I'll reconvene on Wednesday at that some point about 11 o'clock at night. Maybe we'll be saying something completely different. But hey, we're there on merit. So you have to go and pick your wits against these teams and see what happens. The performances, as you say, Ryan, in the first 2 games have been there, just not the results. Maybe one day we'll get a result, When we don't play particularly well, we'll eke it out, we'll do whatever to get that.
I don't think Europe works like that for Celtic, unfortunately.
Well, it doesn't.
Celtic need to play well to get any result.
It's time it did. They're on the right end of a fine margin for once.
Celtic need to be playing in the Premier League for that to happen, unfortunately.
1888 FC saying it's fantasy. He's saying, yeah, listen, we deal in dreams on the Celtic way, very much so, but we also deal in realism as well. We're being slightly comedic about that. We know what we're facing on Wednesday night. It's a step up. It always is a step up in class when you go into that Champions League arena. But, yep, Des Harkin, my kind of guy. Dreams can come true. Of course they can. Yeah, you never give up hope that Celtic will one day get their hands on the cup with the big ears once again, Ryan. Do you? You always believe that football's cyclical. I might never see it. But hey, it's the hope that springs eternal, isn't it? It's why you're the club that you are. Gold Star defines you as a big club. So there you go.
Why not? Why would you? I just don't. You've got to dream in football. You've got to. What's the point in being a supporter or being associated with the club otherwise if you don't have a wee bit of dreaming with it?
Yeah.
It's part of the fun. You know, it might never happen, but you know the thought of it's still there. As long as Celtic are a club and Celtic are functioning in Europe, then you never know. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you never know.
Hazel Finn's going to the Atletico game with no fear and stand toe-to-toe is all that Celtic can do. Why not? Correct. And Kaiser, morning Kaiser, Celtic are a special team capable of beating any team on any given night at Celtic Park. Of course, you've seen it happen before. So reputations mean nothing really. And another one coming in there, Jerry Smith, Celtic dare to dream. Indeed. So we'll keep daring to dream until Wednesday night at 11 o'clock when we give our fearless verdict again on this. But yeah, I'm still dreaming. Might be the eternal dreamer and optimist, but there you go, Ryan. So there. Thomas Gallagher got to be in it to win. It's 11-11 versus 11 at the end of the day. And with the Celtic fans back and they can do it. Yeah, correct. 1888 FC, I'm all dreamed out. Can't help it. Domestic dominance for him. Well, that's fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's fair enough. But hey, don't be putting a dampener on my enthusiasm until such times when you can turn around and say, yes, we can. Des Harkin, absolutely Ryan, Celtic through and through. Yeah, let's channel that optimism, Ryan. We've channeled a few things this season and we've made it happen. We channeled Kyogo's first Champions League goal, didn't we?
We did. We manifested that into reality.
Yes. So, and we're kind of manifesting Matt O'Reilly to be superhuman this season. So let's do it for Wednesday night as well. Confidence is high, take it higher, next level, says Francis Green. Indeed, Jamie Young, Celtic won't get gubbed, but he's sick of the hard luck stories. Tony and Ryan, yeah, aren't we all? But it's part and parcel of football. Highs are great, the lows are devastating, but hey, there you go. Seamus Gallagher, thank you, Seamus. Another great show as always, lads. Too kind. That's nearly an hour, young man. Time flies when you're having fun. It's even better when you can enthuse and purr about a wonderful performance. Brendan Monaghan. Tony, you said we win at Ibrox. I did, Brendan. Glad you were listening. Told everybody Celtic would win at Ibrox. Told everybody the manager would produce some kind of tactical master plan and mastermind a win at Ibrox, and they did. Funny that, isn't it? But there you go. It's and to big up Ryan yesterday. He got 11 out of 11 in team sheet and then got his prediction right with 4-1. And we might be dreamers, but we're realists and perish the thought that
there's methods behind the madness.
Yeah, between the two of us, we might sometimes know what we're talking about. Not all the time, granted, but a majority of the time, I'd like to think that we have an idea. We've got a handle on this football journalism malarkey. You know, my brain's still evolving. I'm 51-year-old. You know what I mean? Still, you know, is it? You've got a brain, but you certainly haven't mastered it. One of them. I'm one of them. But hey, I like to think I've watched and viewed enough football to be kind of safe in my thoughts and, you know, firmly behind them and kind of know a wee bit, Ryan, a wee bit of knowledge that we can impart. You know, I used to say wisdom, as in Norman Wisdom. He's an old comedian. You'll not know who that is, but hey, it is. But yeah, I thought you had a good day yesterday in terms of how it was going to pan out. I think we both had a good day. I think it panned out the way we said it would on the pre-match. I would advise people to watch the pre-match, Ryan. Yeah, just as an exercise. And we spoke about what would happen in the game yesterday, and it turned out that most of what we said pre-match happened, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. From the team to the result to key performers on the day, we said that Matt O'Reilly, you know, he had that man of the match performance in his first game at Tynecastle. It was up to him to break his duck and score at Tynecastle. That happened as well. It's not really. I'm not going to really say it's a prediction because it's been happening in most games this season. It's a bit of an open goal in that regard. Matt O'Reilly has been scoring goals for Celtic, but yeah, I'm delighted that most things happened, and I like to spread positivity with regard to how Celtic are playing, and like to put a positive outlook on things. I'll be negative when I need to be negative, but there's no point in being negative for the sake of it. Only be negative when you need to be.
Yeah, and the team deserve it as well. Great show, boys, especially after overtime yesterday. Well done. Thank you very much, Hazel. Appreciate that. That's us gone over the hour. We shall end it there because there's still plenty to talk about on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll preview Atletico Madrid in the Champions League on Wednesday night, both tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll be strapping myself in for another long day on Wednesday, won't we, Ryan?
As always, yep. We endeavour to give you the best content, and we'll be going over the odds and over the time to make sure that happens.
One shot, Charlene. Fab Live, Tony and Ryan. Thank you very much. It's very kind. As I say, we can't do it without you. We like to get your own opinions on everything Celtic, and we try and flick up as many of them as we can. If I didn't get round to yours today, sorry about that. We'll try and get round to them in the coming days, counting down to Atletico Madrid and Hibernian on Saturday. But yeah, we shall reconvene tomorrow. Another happy Monday, Ryan. Can get used to these.
Yeah, absolutely. You think about where Celtic were around at the start of the season, after the Kilmarnock game, after the St Johnstone game. I much prefer these Mondays to the Mondays that we had those few months ago. Seems like a long time ago now, and long may they continue.
And before we go, I advise you to look at the top of your screen. Celtic Way morning briefing, now sponsored by MPH Group, and they specialise in plumbing, heating, kitchen and bathrooms. And the morning briefing brought to you by MPH Group. They're Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialists covering all of mainland Scotland, and every service you opt for automatically enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway, and you could win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico. All the links are in the description of this pod to the social media channels and their phone number. So we say thank you to MPH Group for their sponsorship of the Celtic Way morning briefing. And as we always urge you to do, hit that subscribe button, guys. Costs you £4 for 4 months or £18 for a yearly subscription. Take out a yearly subscription by hitting that subscribe button at www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And if you enjoy what we do, why not subscribe to the YouTube channel as well? Get all the videos for free. But the subscription service lets you access everything that's written on the website. Something there for everybody. Isn't that right, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for analytical pieces, then look no further today. I'll be starting my Stats Bomb piece at the conclusion of this video, so that should be out in the afternoon. If you're looking for more happy reading and happy content, then look no further than that. We've also got Q&As from yesterday. We've got Q&As from Matt O'Reilly. I know you spoke to Matt O'Reilly yesterday, Tony. You spoke to Brendan Rodgers as well. There's quotes from Kyogo in there as well in the news section. So anything that you're looking for regarding post-match content, video debates, etc., look no further than the Celtic Way website. £4 for 4 months, one-time offer, or £18 for a whole year. Please subscribe. We need more subscribers. We need to keep this going. We can't do this without you, basically, and we would really appreciate if you go on to www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe and bring out a subscription. £4 for 4 months. It'll be you sorted until the new year or after the new year as well. So you can give us a try for £4 and see if you like it. But we really do appreciate everybody's support. Please get involved.
Indeed. Jerry O'Raw, great show again today. Thank you. Well done, guys. Thanks very much. Take care. We shall see you all tomorrow. 10 o'clock-ish, Ryan, round about that time.
Yeah, 10ish.
All the best, guys. Take care.
Cheers, guys.